Hello Scrufftards, welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy and this is Scruffy Tales. And I want to highlight that it appears as if Ukraine keeps advancing east. And the 21st Mechanized, the Swedish Brigade, are in the thick of it. And here we have the map from Deep State that just the other day made a big update that Ukraine has pushed Russia back quite a ways, roughly 2 kilometers. And but it was in mid-April that YouTube reporting from Ukraine showed us this exact update. So for some reason it took a couple of months for Deep State to acknowledge this. But now they have, and Ukraine has forced Russia back several square kilometers in this area outside of Terny. But now we have some further information from the Ukraine Daily Update map, indicating that Russia has been pushed back further still, and that this area here is the gray zone, and that would be this entire area. Would be in the gray zone. And it appears as if this may be that this map change is based on artillery strikes, that Ukraine is currently hitting this area here with artillery. So the conclusion then is that since Ukraine is attacking way back here, that means this is where Russia has their positions, and everything between Ukraine-controlled area and Russian-controlled area is the gray zone. Not, that may very well be true, but there may be something else going on. Now, since most of the mappers agree that this is basically what the front line looks like, if we have satellite images that confirms artillery strikes way back here, that could indicate that Ukraine is trying to isolate Russian frontline troops. So they're attacking back here to deny Russian reinforcements from reaching the front line as they are pushing into Russian-controlled territory. Just because you're attacking a location with artillery doesn't mean that it is the front line. It doesn't even mean that there are enemy troops there. For instance, if you want to cross this wide open field, hypothetically, and you don't know if enemies are hiding on a hill over here or in a woods or something like that, you could call in artillery strikes preemptively, even if you have no idea if there's any enemy located here. All you know is that if they are there, they can shoot at you as you're crossing this wide open field. So you call in artillery to strike at the hill or forest preemptively, just in case, and then you move across, right? So just because there's an artillery strike, it doesn't mean that there are enemy troops in that area. And just because there are artillery strikes doesn't even mean that it's the actual front line. It could be a barrage to prevent the enemy from sending reinforcements, pinning troops in place as you're pushing in to the actual frontline locations. I mean, you don't want to hit these locations with artillery if you're about to send in your own troops, right? Because then you're going to have blue on blue, you're going to kill your own troops with the artillery strikes. So it's not unthinkable that these barrages that has been geolocated along these windbreaks, the point of them is to prevent Russians from reaching the actual on-the-ground fighting going on in these valleys, as Ukraine is now trying to push up and secure these 3 valleys, right? So could you then argue that this is in fact the gray zone if Ukraine is pushing in to these valleys? Yeah, maybe, I guess you could, but I don't think that this is an indication that this is where Russian control ends or begins, right? I think it's more than likely Ukraine trying to isolate Russian frontline troops as they're pushing in with their own forces and are about to clear out these valleys. And if we use Google Earth here we have Terny. This is the town that the Russians have been trying to reach, because there's a bunch of rivers, there's a bunch of bridges crossing the river here. And they were close, they got this far in this valley. They had made it this far, I believe, in this valley. And they were beginning to move into these two valleys down here. But as we've seen from April and onward, Ukraine has been pushing back eastward in these valleys all along here. They made a big push here, and they're even up here as well. And over here they made a big push up on the hill here at the top of the ridgeline here, and they have now begun to push up into this valley as well, securing the farmland surrounding these valleys. So Ukraine, they're pushing eastward this way in this valley, up here, and they have been pushing here and here. And now they are aiming barrages along these windbreaks, isolating pockets of Russian resistance. And I'm thinking in the next couple of weeks we will probably see some more updates of Ukraine continuously pushing along these valleys. And up here they're probably going to be pushing along the windbreaks, gaining ground up on the hills as well. And interestingly enough, Terny and the area we've been talking about, the valleys, right here is where we have 21st Mechanized, the Ukrainian battalion that relies on CV-90s, the Swedish combat vehicle, and the Swedish tank STRV-122. And here you have some Swedish patches. Ukrainians have clearly finished basic training, as the 1 star indicates on these patches. Basic training for the tank. And this Ukrainian even has a Skaraborg regiment patch. Actually, my old regiment when I was a conscript as a armored infantry squad leader, Pansarskytte, as we say in Sweden. So yeah, it warms my heart seeing my old regiment patch on the arm of a Ukrainian soldier taking the fight to the Russians. So right here in the middle of it we have the 21st Mechanized with all the Swedish equipment. And in this area Ukraine is pushing Russia back, strongly so. And that's not all. If we have 21st Mechanized up here, Terny and the valleys that they're fighting in, down here in the area surrounding the city of Lyman, we have the 45th Artillery Brigade, and they are operating the Swedish Archer self-propelled howitzers. So if this area is under Ukrainian artillery fire, I'm thinking it's pretty likely that the Archers have moved up and are supporting the attack east along these valleys. So there we go. So yeah, so here we have where Ukraine has over the last couple of weeks and months been pushing eastward, pushing Russia back, liberating territory from Russian occupation. And the same goes down here, just north of the Oskil River. Ukraine has liberated territory, pushed Russia back, and they are pushing northeast here in the forests outside of Crimea. So it's somewhat of a pincer move Ukraine has got going here, aiming straight at the city of Crimea. And up here is where we have a lot of Swedish equipment helping the Ukrainians in liberating their country from Russian occupation. But where is all of this taking place? Well, it's here. Here you can see the blue patches from this map. So this is where Ukraine is actually having some successes. Elsewhere along the front line, it's mostly Russian gains, but not here. Here, Ukraine is pushing Russia back. Up here is where Russia made that move from the north, trying to push towards Kharkiv. Down here is where you have Chasiv Yar and Bakhmut. So between Bakhmut and Kharkiv is where we have Terny, where Ukraine is actually forcing Russia to fall back. So people have asked me in the comments what my thoughts are on the fact that 7 out of 10 STRV-122s have been knocked out. The fact is that yes, 7 out of the 10 STRV-122s donated to Ukraine by Sweden was by March knocked out, but only 1 was destroyed. The others were merely damaged and abandoned. And mapper Andrew Perpetua, who relies on satellite images, claims that 3 out of 5 STRV-122s have more than likely been retrieved by Ukraine. So with a little bit of luck, soon Ukraine will have 6 STRV-122s in working condition. We also have the famous incident when Russia tried to hijack one of the abandoned STRV-122s. This was probably a successful attempt in the end, since they did manage to bring it back towards Russian lines, and they have more than likely made another attempt to retrieve it. And on the 26th of March, Andrew posted on Twix, as I call it, a map detailing some of the abandoned and recovered Swedish vehicles, a region that now it appears as if Ukraine is about to liberate. And in so doing, Ukraine could potentially recover 1 more of the abandoned STRV-122s, indicated by the yellow arrow, as you can see. And that one should by now be in Ukrainian control. So yeah, Ukraine is pushing hard east of Terny, and well, hopefully we have some CV-90s, some STRV-122s, and some archers helping out with making that happen and making it possible. That would really warm my heart if that was the case. Because it is what Swedish military equipment is designed to do, kick Russian ass. So yeah, I hope you found it interesting, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. As always, go på marsch, Ukraine. Give them hell.